Welcome to this fourth short video on implementing the best game model. In every game, as in every organization, players are selected or rejected for their qualifications related to how well they can help the team or organization make the enterprise's mission happen. And while it seems apparent to me that leadership is the single most important key to the success of any and every organization, the quality of the players on your team is definitely a close second. Got a couple of goals for this session. First of all, I want to give you a tool that will help you choose the right players for your team. And secondly, to share an effective method of communicating great expectations and setting the stage for terrific performance. The foundation for an effective working relationship is a shared commitment to values and goals. This is foundational to make your players perform at their maximum level. So it's logical that shared commitment only comes about when the parties' expectations are clear to both parties and they're negotiated and agreed on. The other thing that comes into play here is that anger and frustration are nothing more than unfulfilled expectations. The corollary of that is to avoid anger and frustration and improve performance by simply remembering the most important words of leadership. And those three words are communicate, communicate, communicate. How do you communicate? Well, let me give you a handout. And this is a player mandate template. And if you're listening to this, you can go to the Decision Grid website and look under resources and you'll find position mandate template available. You can download it and use it as you see fit. Mandate is a performance map that serves as a communication tool and as a point of reference for you and the person who has chosen to be a part of your team. This tool defines the activities and behaviors through which stuff gets done by the person holding the position, and this can also function, this position mandate can function as your primary tool to adding the right players to your team. Know this, that the player who wants to follow you or is choosing to follow you really wants to succeed. Nobody takes on a job with the intent of failing. The best thing you can do for that person is early and often to share what terrific performance looks like. Like my friend Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, you will probably end up somewhere else. Words to live by. Instead of ending up somewhere else, end up where you want to be and avoid anger and frustration along the way. Take the short amount of time necessary to draft and negotiate an effective position mandate. There are four critical ingredients that you'll see on your screen. The first is a clear goal. The second are a list of responsibilities and duties, but those have to be meaning-based. They have to have some end goal in them, and it's got to be clear what that is. That's what I mean by meaning-based. And finally, there are future facts, and future facts are nothing more than describing what terrific performance will look like if they had all of the resources necessary to perform. And then finally, share with the employee what the measurements are. How are you going to decide that this person is having success? Let's take a quick look at each of the ingredients individually. The first is a clear goal. This is the big picture of what should be accomplished in this position by a contributor to the success of the organization. The first step of any effective collaboration is sharing the meaning of this position. This goal provides a framework on which to hang the details. And then a why in 8 words or less, action, verb, target, outcome. And if you want more information, and I've talked about this a number of times, probably will continue to talk about a number of times, is go to the Simon Sinek TED Talk on how great leaders inspire action, or review the first actual session, the second video in this series called Goal. The second ingredient is a concise list of the person's responsibilities and duties. This is where you list in order of priority all the things the job holder is expected to take care of. Make sure to indicate that, of course, this is not a complete list, because as a member of your team, there will be occasions that they will have the option of taking the initiative to do important stuff that may not be on this list. But nonetheless, this list is critical to making the organization's why happen. The third ingredient is where you get to share with your great expectations from what might and could happen. These are called future facts. They're simply ideal images of the future. These are the expectations of those who are directly responsible for the performance of the person holding this position and must be clearly defined. Let's talk about each of those words just quickly. Ideal images for the future, to give you a little bit more meat on which to hang some really good sentences. Ideal. These are visions about hopes, dreams, and aspirations. They're about exciting possibilities. They're about making a difference, creating something grand, and achieving a whole new standard of excellence. They tell us the ennobling purpose and greater good we are seeking. Then image. Image is, if we look at our past and project our future in mental images, these are word pictures, metaphors, analogies, examples, even stories with similar communication methods, and all of these make visions a memory. So this is really the opportunity to plant into somebody's brain what you really want. And then finally, future. A vision is a description of an exciting possibility that we desire in the future. If it were a description of what existed today, it wouldn't be vision, it'd be a reality. Visions are projections, things that we want to happen someday or the future. They stretch out minds into the future and ask us to dream. The horizons of visions vary, but generally speaking, 5 to 10 years is a reasonable time horizon. The future facts you create describing an ideal image of the future, taking the time and emotional energy necessary to create future facts for a position will pay off big time, because what you're doing is clarifying and establishing the benchmarks for wonderful performance. Instead of rising to the mediocrity of getting the minimum done to satisfy responsibilities and duties, the position holder will instead have targets that require stretching and growth. The fourth part of this is measurement. This is where mission meets math. We measure what we want to accomplish. Measuring makes the otherworldly future facts that we just talked about real. It is in this fourth section of the position mandate that you clarify the metrics of performance for the position. Make sure that the measurement criteria are simple and clear so that looking back there can be no disagreement as to whether the measurements are accurate indicators of achievement. This element is critical because it eliminates conflict about the ultimate question. Did the position holder accomplish what both the supervisor and the employee agreed to? Before we review, I want to just give you one piece of unsolicited advice, and that is simply to hire for heart and train for hands. While a candidate's resume should mirror the position mandate's necessary qualifications to get the job done, my experience is that's rarely what really happens. All leaders take a gamble hiring someone. You don't just know how a person is going to perform on your team until he or she has been with you and your organization for 6 months, even up to a year. So, I've had much more success with adding good team members by placing the most emphasis on their character and how it relates to the team I want to build and already have in place. So let's review. If you understand that anger and frustration are nothing more than unfulfilled expectations, then you know that clarifying expectations can significantly improve performance. And finally, a position mandate with the 4 ingredients is a straightforward and effective tool for avoiding anger and frustration by defining and communicating great expectations through a why for the position, measurable future facts, and measurements. Thank you for listening, and looking forward to going to the next video, which will be all about strategy.